The Hebrew text in the Bible has hidden formats. By revealing these formats, I will prove the first writer's words were hidden from you. These formats look like poetry as I group them into small paragraphs. Their grouping will become known as a psalm, and together they become psalms. Let me show you our Creator's 12 commandments, listed in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. Any father of a family or his wife who did not obey any one of these 12 commandments, our Creator demanded they bring him a sin offering. Thus, our Creator defined the word sin as not obeying any one of these 12 commandments. Next, I want to show you how I changed one word in Exodus 26, verse 26, the word bars to arches, and the words now reveal the style of the roof for our Creator's tent for meeting with Him. Let me show you the translator's words from the preface of the 1611 King James Bible. They gave 4 reasons for themselves or others to edit the Bible's words. The red arrow at the top points to their 3rd reason to edit the text. By the light and feeling we attained unto ourselves. The next red arrow down points to them giving the title, the Divine, to a clerk named Gregory. The next block of words, they point out they were happy that the first emperor of Rome established the year to the course of the sun. Behind this text means Nebuchadnezzar ordered his kingdom to follow our Creator's calendar when he stopped eating grass. Did you notice the letter S in sun is capitalized? This is to give respect to the Egyptian sun god Ra. Have you seen the Egyptian obelisk in the Vatican's front yard? The last arrow points to your reward for studying the Bible. Your reward is to have a fellowship with the saints and participation of a heavenly nature that will never fade away. There is no such thing as nature to a truthful Christian. Our Creator created everything. By their own words, they were not seeking to know our Creator or Jesus. Not everyone has the knowledge to correct every word. I have an old Bible program that has the New American Standard Bible 1977 concordance to help find a better word. Their concordance has the number of times they use that English word in a parenthesis for that Hebrew word. The translators removed his name, YHVH, to put in 2 titles, Lord and God. I replaced those titles using the letters Y and V as his name, for the Hebrew language does not have a J, O, or W. By using these 2 letters, I am closer to the truth than anyone using J, O, or W for his name. So why is there a single letter O in the Hebrew text 1,095 times? No proper English was used? The blue highlighted text is text that I am removing. The red highlighted words are little words that I'm adding. Gray italic words are words that I added. To respect and honor our Creator, all capital letters in purple are our Creator's words. This is Jesus' prophecy, for I am revealing the first writer's words to tell you the true truths about Jesus. As the text is revealed, you can read-taste the writer's style of wording. Their words will take your belief to trusting our Creator. You will be watching prophecy before your eyes as I edit true truths back into their psalms. All right, what you see in here is chapter 11, and what I'm doing is trying to find the 3-verse hidden format. And by that, what I mean by that is that the first verse will be a statement, and then these 2 verses make actually a sentence that describe the statement, and it makes a small paragraph. When it repeats, it becomes another paragraph, but the 2 paragraphs will connect together. So you'll see that I'll have a space, a double space here. And if I go out a little bit, you can see what's going on is this is a group, this is a group. Now, this is in 11, it starts out with Darius as in his first year, and then I didn't have a verse to go there, so I put it down as missing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on 12 here. So, well, I guess I better save some of that before I shut it off. All right. Above me is kind of what I do. I first broke it down into the shortest sentences, and then I tried to group them together. And that way I got took about 20 minutes off the clock. And let's see, I'm doing okay on Twitch today so far. Put new settings on OBS to see if it would work right. All right. Now at that time, Michael the great prince, who stands guard over the sons of your people, will arise. Not much of a 3-verse here, but it says he will arise, so I don't need this verse here. Now, Michael, maybe this is Daenerys' son as far as a prince goes. We've been working with Daenerys as a king, so that prince should be our prince, which would be his son. Okay. And I don't need great, just our prince, who stands over the sons of your people will arise. Okay, now this sounds like it's almost like a prophecy, and yet 11 didn't end up that way. So now I've got maybe a piece that goes with some other text someplace else. There will be a time of distress. Okay. And I can put here at the, I don't need this, but this says I'm adding, and then when I clean it up, it'll be italic, and what you see here is I'm getting rid of those words. At a time of distress, such as never occurred, not as, it has to be. It's easier to find those easier words to correct sometimes to get started, to find out what the subject we're talking about here. Has never occurred. Well, I don't need the word such. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to use, to stay to the format, I use one major word. You can see how I'm doing this. Okay. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. And that seems to be the first writer's formats. I've only been doing this for 30 years. So, but let's see. Has never occurred since there was a nation. Which has never occurred at a time of distress, has never occurred. Now they're in Babylon. I know the story about Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. At a time of distress, this would be the killing of the 2-year-old boys and below around Bethlehem. Has never occurred. That's what that's telling me. So that would be a statement. This will be a comma. Since they were a nation. Don't need this. And this and this. And nation are creator. Whoops. That didn't work. I establish what our Creator did with all capital letters, so giving him honor and respect in the text. This has no English format at all, so it was actually written, this text might have been written about 2,400 years ago. At the time of distress has never occurred since they were a nation. Okay, I think I found it, so this might go with this next one. But what's this talking about? Michael, our prince. Of your people will arise. That's Jesus. Okay, let me just say this as a king. Okay, let me just put king and respect Jesus in the text by giving it red color. And I'm going to add that word or change this word to prince. This would have to be Yah. Now, a lot of people don't know that Yah is the Hebrew name that they gave to Jesus. And I'm going to show you that really quick here. I used oops, I didn't open it up. Yeah, oops, the wrong stuff. Didn't open it up yet. I have a lot of slides to show people, so, and this is Jesus. Okay. Now, you know that they were to wait for Jesus to come, since Nathan told David, through your son's seed, your son will become a king in heaven forever. Now, that is the only verse where you get to go to heaven. So they were told to wait for him. Now, here in Isaiah 38, verse 11, this is King Hezekiah, king of Judah. This is the king of Judah at the time that when all of the kingdom of, or the nation Israel, the two divided nations, went into captivity. He's the one that had the 15 years added to his life, by the way, just a quick reminder. And he sits here and he says, I shall not see Yah in the land of the living. Now, you know that all capital letters in the Bible are supposed to represent our Creator's name. But let me show you something here. In Psalm 149, if I click on this word here, my Bible program allows me to click on the New American Standard Concordance. So they've changed the lettering of a lot of words to own Strong's Concordance. And what they do down here is they tell you how many times they use a word that way. So there's 48 times that the Hebrew word Yah is in the text. Now, if I just made it king by just saying that was Jesus' name in Isaiah, what if I said down here the name of the king from Israelis? Okay? So, let me show you here in Psalm 149. Praise Yah, sing to YV a new song. Well, this would mean that they were talking about that they knew about the prophecy of David's son, okay, and his praise in the congregation. The congregation really means that they're supposed to celebrate the passing over by the tribes living around or encamping around his house or tent for meeting when he told them to do that in the Sinai. And it was the three oldest sons in the south, three in the east, three in the west, although that I'm not sure which way yet for sure. And then it's in the north. Yeah, so the door opening was in the south. I know all the pictures show different, but actually when you search in Exodus, it's our Creator told Moses to put the opening to his meeting room on the south. So if you're going to open up the curtains to walk into his meeting room on the south, well, the doorway's got to be south. Okay, I'll get back here. Now it's going to be rejoice in their king. So now we know that we're talking about king. Whoever prays Yah is a king, and praise his name with dancing. Now this means that what I'm just saying here is that as they were to gather around by groups of family, they're supposed to praise who? Praise Yah, okay? Now there are 48 verses, and I will make a video to prove that, because there's a couple more, they're a little bit harder to understand. But now you know who Yah is, okay? Now, Yah, our king, although if he's being told, this has to be your king. Yeah, your king, who stands guard. Who stands guard over the sons. Well, this means this is coming from our Creator, will be arise. And this will be coming from our Creator. And this is at the time of what I was saying here about the distress, that's why they were killed, was there was told here that he will arise. Should I put he's born? I think arise is okay. At the time of distress has never occurred since they were a nation. Okay, yeah, your king. I'm going to put the word from here, and let me put this here and put this part up here. From your sons of your people will arise. Although I've got two here. So from your people, so I don't need the doubleness of having sons and people. Let's make it just one. From your people will arise. Actually, I might have it wrong here. If I go like this and put it this way, then I don't need it because he's not going to stand guard over them. Okay, this. And I've added this word. So, Yah, your king, from your people will arise at a time of distress. Now I should add, yeah, that word right there, that. That has never occurred, comma, since they were a nation, comma, until that time, until his time, that'd be Jesus' time. And I don't know if I should change time to days, his days, because, but this is going to be our Creator. So our Creator is going to send them. So I have to respect the word time as being brought on by our Creator. Has never occurred, oops, that was a period, since they were a nation until his time. That's what's being described here. This is a future. This is a prophecy of Jesus that has not been revealed like that. I don't think that this is I've edited Daniel like this in over 30 years. Maybe that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, going through the last time I go through each of the books to put them all together so you have a complete story. But this is the first time that this text would be revealed to anybody as a prophecy of Jesus. And it is defining and it is telling us that this is going to never occurred, and that is what happened. So this is a prophecy. Now, I don't know where it's going to fit with what other text above it, because this is just chapter 11 or 12 here. And usually, well, since I've done this, I know that I'll get a lot of pieces from Daniel, and then I'll try to stick them around and see what order they are. But that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let's see how much more is here. Wow. That's stunning. Okay, let me put it this way. Dust of the ground. That isn't dust of the ground. That's the abyss. Meaning that those aren't asleep, they're dead, okay? And their souls are in the abyss. Now, why am I using the word abyss? When our Creator talks to Cain, he tells him that I'm here able from the ground, talking to me from the ground. So you have to know how the Hebrews understood their understanding words. You can't use secular definitions here. You have to use definitions coming from the Hebrew text. The surface that you see is known as land. Underneath there is ground. So example, when you walked up to a river and you looked and you could see through the water, you could see the land underneath the water, okay? And then below that is ground. Now, you also have to understand the concept of their heavens. Where the birds fly is the third heaven. The sun's motion, or the star's motion, creates this mountain. And only in NSAB 197 or 9, yeah, NSAB, excuse me. Psalms 48 verse 2 talks about Mount Zion in the far north, and that's his mountain, our Creator's mountain. So the motion of the stars, with the North Star as being the point or the top of the mount or mountain, is the second heaven. The Greeks called this Mount Olympus. And above there is where our Creator created heaven. That's where Moses looked to and raised his staff and asked for a plague. That's where Jesus turned and looked to heaven and asked our Creator to feed the many people. So the abyss is now a place like a heaven underneath the ground. Okay, now that you got that, this is not, this has got to be like this. Many in the abyss. Okay, now why am I saying this? Do you know the text about Jesus when when his body died on the cross, the earth shook, the house because the road going into Jerusalem is truly where he's put on the cross, because they had to be able to see the house, and the granite blocks split. Okay, that's what it says. And then they said they seen from the graves souls arising up out of the grave. Many in the abyss, in the ground, will awake. I have to put the word in here, but now you know why I'm editing the text, that this is what's being said truthfully here now, will awake. Now, I have to actually say that they're going to arise. Okay? So, I guess I will say rise up, because that is what happened. Rise up. And they would have known that from the ground to the third heaven, to the second heaven, and then to heaven. So you know that now you have a very good visual of the souls ascending. They went right straight up to heaven, because when Jesus' body died, this ascending of them proves that he instantly was into heaven and his kingdom started. So they had to rise up, not they will wake. But this is the first as a prophecy to their, I don't need these, to their everlasting life with him, meaning Jesus. Okay, I'm adding this and I'm adding this, but that's true. What you know, if you know the stories, you know that this is now actually in the text, in the Hebrew text. Because a lot of times you'll see verses in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John speaking like they were written in the text. But as you've seen from the intro, the good guys aren't editing the Bible, okay? But to show the hidden formats means they started with the text that was actually written by true witnesses of our Creator talking with them and telling them what would happen in the future. Okay, so now I've got to come up here with then. At that time your people, that has to be a period. Am I still on? I don't know if I'm starting to get messages from Twitch. I don't like that. I really have a hard time streaming. I don't know what's going on. I got to get a new computer. This is weird because this has to mean and everyone. And just to make it read smooth. And everyone who not written in the book will be rescued. Okay, let me show you something here. Oh, where am I at? Okay. Hey, no freeze ups yet. This is Genesis 17:6. And this is where our Creator is going to establish his everlasting covenant with the people, with Abraham. And then this covenant is actually going to become many different promises. But he is going to make nations from you, his sons. Oh, from here it is. Forth from you. Kings shall come forth from you. Nations, and then kings shall come forth from you. Now I have to go to 18:18 Genesis and say, in him, who is him, it's got to be a king, all the races of the earth will be blessed. What is this blessing? We don't know about the blessing of entering heaven until we get to the promise he gives to David's, through his son's seed shall Jesus be born. So now this blessing is what's being talked about. This is what's being written here that I'm trying to edit here. Everyone who was promised, this has to be promised. Okay, and because I'm going to be adding this word, I'm going to put it in gray. Not found, they weren't found. And everyone who is promised. Do I have this right here? That would be a comma. But it's a prophecy, it's not a book. Who is promised in the prophecy. When I just got done showing you here, let me show it to you again. This is Abraham. This is a prophecy, okay, by our Creator. So when you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and about the promise of, or when somebody talked to Jesus and said, we're disciples of Abraham, it comes back to this as a prophecy about their king, the way they seen it. They didn't believe in Jesus. They got distorted. That's why they're arguing with him. But the object is that this is the prophecy that is really a prophecy and not in the book. This is prophecy here. That was prophesied. Well, let me put it that way. Let me do this. But it's in the book, so I gotta have, I guess I've done this wrong. Let me do this. Let me take this word because it's got to be in your books. In prophesied, and this I got to add. Prophesied in. It's got to be in your books because it's our Creator said this many times. So this I don't need because I already got what's going to happen here in the next one. So at that time, your people and everyone who is promised prophesied in your books. And they didn't have scrolls at this time, so it has to be in your books. And many in the abyss, in the ground, will rise up to their everlasting life with him. That is, yes. At that time, your people and everyone who's promised to enter into heaven, they're going to rise up from the ground at that time, prophesied in your books. Okay, now that's getting stunning to see a prophecy of Jesus appearing before my eyes in Daniel. That to me is just beautiful. Okay. Now, what's going on here? Now, this text doesn't have anything to go with anything, so that's not there. Who have insight will shine brightly with the brightness of the expanse of heaven. And those who lead in many righteous like the stars forever and ever. Okay, now you don't know who's editing the text, but let me put it this way. In the Vatican courtyard is an Egyptian obelisk, and Egypt had a sun god. And when they talk about becoming gods at that time, they were to be gods in heaven. The stars are ended up calling hosts. That's why the ones that are roaming out there, we know them as planets, they're named after God's name, false gods' names today. So they were going to be with the god of Mars, god of Jupiter, and this. So this is them putting that into their text. I can't have that. That's just not true. And Daniel's not going to seal the book. What makes prophets prophets is that they all tell kings and people what our Creator has told them, and all of them end up writing about Jesus is coming. For the first time, I can say Daniel actually fulfills these words that I'm talking about as what describes a true prophet. Okay? And if you notice, Daniel's never married. Okay? So, until the end of time. Now, this seems like it's going back and forth. But this, is that going with this? And many in the abyss, and the ground will rise up to their everlasting life with him. Then, I'm going to put the word then, and I'm just trying this out to see if this fits, because then until their end, and this would be, now you have to know about Jesus's second coming, where all man is the end of earth for man on earth. And that's because at that moment when Jesus comes back, he's going, the souls are going to leave their body, some into heaven and then some into the abyss. And then our Creator is going to even let those that are in the abyss, because they've had some time to think about what's going on, and if they can still redeem themselves, our Creator still has mercy and compassion. He can allow them into heaven. And then he's going to establish all the most evil ones, the ones that completely don't agree with our Creator, and are going into what's known as hell. So then until their end, okay, now that's the statement. And many will go back and forth. And the knowledge will increase of him. You know, if I put that there, and I've got Jesus back in here, until their end, many will go back and forth. And I might have it wrong. I got to take the word here, then the knowledge will increase of him. That goes here. Now this has to change to until their end. Many will go back and forth. Well, since I'm trying to use two words, if I say they're going to go back and forth, I would say that's arguing. Will argue. Many will argue. Go back and forth. Will argue of him. Let me just take these two and stick that up to here. Until their end, many will argue of him, then knowledge will increase of him. Now, this is definitely the future. This is past Jesus's ascending into heaven and establishing his kingdom. That, but you know that Jesus does gives warnings about being patient, waiting for him, and there's going to be wars. But this is the first time that there's going to be like arguments. And boy, do we have arguments today about Jesus. We got people thinking he's not, doesn't exist. But that's until their end, many will argue of him, then knowledge will increase of him. And that's what I'm doing right here. This is what I'm doing. I told you, I am Jesus's prophecy. I was sent here to find the true truths of Jesus. And if you haven't studied the text on the helper, who's supposed to have a spirit, well, how about a spirit of true truths? And Jesus said that the explaining of his true truths will turn many back to Jesus. Or turn many to Jesus. So you've got to watch my videos, because there's so much that's going on and you haven't the slightest idea. Like you've seen in the beginning, the intro, you didn't know there was 12 commandments. So everyone preaching that's been a liar. In fact, I can even show you something else here that's I didn't put up. And that is, let's put a roof on the tent of meeting. When you go through in Exodus 26 and get to verse 26, and I've counted all these boards. I put all those boards where they're supposed to be. And I had this group of boards that describes what's going on. And when I started playing around with what the boards could do, I knew that the word bars needed to be changed to arches. Okay? Now, these red ones here are missing in the text itself, but you've always seen the tent have that extra goat hides that are on the sides. Well, anybody that knows about raining, the rain would have caved in the roof end. But if you put this on there, now you have a hip roof, and now you know the truth of what his tent really looked like. Okay, that's the knowledge that he's given me to find and explain to people. And I know that's new to you too. So then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, two others were standing. Is that the end of this? One on this bank of the river and on the other bank of the river. And this will be, don't need to say the river twice. One on this. Although that's reading like one on this bank of the river and the other on that. But that is no format. This, I believe, would be the Tigris River, by the way, if he's still in Babylon. And the man dressed in linen who was above the waters of the river. Now this is going back to text that I already threw out, because, let me show you here. This text here, they were king from the north coming down to king south going back to king north, king south. They were arguing all the time. And then this woman comes and appears, and she's not going to side with one of them, but where does she gain power? Have we, nothing. This is all junk. But when it comes to text that was here, okay, I showed you that. Yeah, now this is, see, this text I still haven't questioned as Rome being created here. So I've got to save this. But where is right here. I saw a great vision. I heard his voice and I fell asleep. But where does it say he was by the river? It might say it. Yeah, here. I was by the river bank. Okay. So this text might go with this story. But let me get back down here. Then I looked me home. Of the river wonders. Because this can't be this text above can't be part of this because he's already told what the end's going to be. And I'm pretty sure I already have the story from above. Are they saying anything new? Because now there's two instead of one. There was one before. And that angel was glowing like glowing bronze, like shiny brass or bronze. And he wore linen with a belt. So just to let you in on what's going on above, because this here is still saying those words that there. He rose his hand and he swore to heaven by him who lives forever. Now we know that we can't be saying that. He doesn't swear to our Creator. Our Creator is sending him to tell us the words. So as soon as they finish, shatter the power of the holy people. I think this is just junk. And I'm going to put it as junk. And I'm going to say that I will look at it later. So maybe I should put it in yellow. But I'm going to look for, because I'm pretty sure the vision has already been done up there. So this would be like them trying to get extra words about that up there. And as for me, I heard and could not understand yet. I just got done writing about it. And yeah, okay. This is when it gets too oversalted with words that you just can't believe these. Conceal until the end time. No, a prophet is sent to tell the people, plain and simple. That's the prophet's job. None of the wicked will stand in the sight of understanding. Many will be purged. But we've already got the end in this text. So now regular sacrifices at that time will be abolished. That would be talking about Jesus's time. So let me see here, the format. I got one, two more paragraphs. Then I got this. So I need another one to go with this. And this is saying that it's going to increase. Okay, I got that in my head. And from that time, I'm going to have to put that time, Jesus on earth after he's ascended. From that time, there's no such thing as a regular sacrifice. I'm going to put an S on it as sacrifices, put a period and put a comma here. Because sacrifices, do you understand the difference between what a sacrifice is and an offering? When I told you earlier how they encamped around the tent for meeting when they traveled, That's where the priest stood on the outside of the wall. So when that tribe came, they knew exactly which priest to go to. Now, what they had to do is atone for not obeying the 12 commandments. The 12 commandments is the agreement to stay within his nation, and then later, as the promises go, to enter into heaven. So what they did to atone, a male from the family, the children weren't really under the guidance of the commandments. It was male, the mother and father, that if they didn't obey exactly the 12, they were to atone for their sin or their not obeying. And they were to bring a sin offering. So the 12 commandments are actually what sin is, not everything that you're making up in your own mind. Our Creator defined it as bring a sin offering. Now, when he brought the ram or the goat to the priest would kill it, take the hide off, remove the muscles, the action of the sin, okay, put them on the plate. The rest of the animal is taken away, but that's the sacrifice. And what is going on the altar, they had stands with hooks, and they would slice the muscles up a little bit thinner so they would burn up quickly, and then they'd just have the fire underneath it, and it would just burn. So when you see a burnt offering, this is still part of the sin offering. They've just changed it on you, and now you understand that this offering is what is to atone for them. This action of the muscle. The muscles represent the action of the sin. And when he's standing on the outside, he would see the smoke go up and it would disappear. This would mean he would forget about it and be forgiven. Okay? So, and the offering will be abolished because there's no more priests that they need to go into, and they were all corrupt anyway. They were the ones that had them killed. So this word I'm adding, offering will be abolished. An abomination, desolation, that's not true. Is set up, no. Days doesn't matter. So what verse here? Blessings who keep him. Abolished. I'm going to put for his, and this I mean by this, our Creator's blessing. Okay. And for his blessing, because the blessing is to go to heaven. So that's what you're waiting for here. Oh, there it is right down there, waiting for. So blessing, you're waiting for his blessing to enter into heaven on your last day. So for his blessing, but you're not waiting. And let me see this. I don't need this or this. So this is out. I got to figure out for his blessing is for his blessing. Who, just let's include women here by saying the word who. For his blessing, who keeps waiting, but they're not supposed to be waiting for him. They're supposed, you've got to for him to bless you, you have to obey the commandments. So let's put it down as, I've got to add the word for obeying. Because you have to obey, let's put it this way, you have to obey our Creator before you can say that you're going to heaven. And those that put our Creator first and follow all the statutes, commandments, like Jesus said you're supposed to do as he did, and that's what he did, and you do that by obeying. You do these and you put our Creator first, and you keep doing this for a long time, you now have a righteousness. You can call yourself righteousness or righteous when you finally get to that point. Okay, you can't say you're righteous until you're obeying our Creator like Jesus. Okay, and then when you die, then when you get that far, you can speak of your glory, and that is to speak about our Creator and Jesus. So people using words wrong just don't know how our Creator defined words in the text. But that, and from that time sacrifices and offerings will be abolished for his blessing who obeys him. Him meaning this will be our Creator. For his blessing who obeys him. Now this is reading as a comma and a period, like these are grouped together, okay? And if I got this as a statement, this needs to go above it, because that's the statement, because I'm seeing this here. Well, let me put that up here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff here so I can read it to make sure it sounds like a... Whereas, okay, now I got to go way up here. Then knowledge will increase of him, and for his blessing who obeys him. And from that time, no, it's not fitting there. This just doesn't read as if it doesn't, this reads like they're hooked together and there is a verse missing. Because this, I'm really forcing it to become what I want. So if I just admit defeat here and not try to do that, and that is out, will be abolished. That is not true. I can't use any words were done. But if I use these words as the statement, let me do that. Let me take these words and just see if I need to work with them and it's working out correctly here. Put them closer together, because sometimes I need to do that just to make sure that I know what's going on here. Let me see how I'm doing here. Well, it still says I'm live, still says that, but it seems I'm... Okay, but OBS hasn't locked up on me. Okay. Until their end, many will argue of him, then knowledge will increase of him. But who have insight will understand. From that time, sacrifices and offerings will be abolished. Yeah, now that sounds better. Now that sounds better. Who have insight. And that means who have not insight. I'm going to use the word knowledge, because it's the knowledge that I've been telling you about here of, and you have to understand why the house is not needed. You have not there. That's not being that knowledge is a better word here than insight. Who have knowledge and understanding can explain what I just said about the sacrifice and offering will be abolished, because Jesus is now established as king, and now he fulfills the promise from Abraham when he started, that this now when anybody dies anywhere, and I would say a high moral people around the world will enter into heaven. Okay? So now I need to clean this up, and let's take a look at it as being cleaned up, because there's probably still some editing needed here. So let me bring up another sheet. Oops, do this. Come up here in the middle somewhere. Do this. But this is cool. This is cool. This is going to be the first time this prophecy is known to everybody, and to me too. And so, yes, I'm a little surprised, because I've been doing this for 30 years. Whittling down, trying to get the exact text, because our Creator makes me a little bit smarter every year. When I learn something, and then it comes a little later, he lets me a little bit more smarter, and then and this will be 2, because that's my format style. No, not that. And then I got Microsoft doesn't like my editing or my format. When this is cleaned up, okay, your king, your king from your people will arise at a time of distress. That has never occurred since they were a nation until his time. And I guess I can put that in red and still mean it's coming from our Creator by leaving it all bold. Shortcut notes for you to not to be able to say you can control what's happening here by the meaning of the words, because so many people aren't righteous yet enough to know all the answers to be able to say these things correctly. So then at that time, your people and everyone, and this is his people, those that are good, we're talking about having to be his people. Because he came to the Israelis first, and they were known as his people after the time that they knew they were going to serve in his heaven, in his kingdom in heaven. Then at that time, his people and everyone who is promised prophesied in your books, and many in the abyss, and the ground will rise up to their everlasting life with him. This is reading so much, so beautiful here, that this is, okay, to, man, that just reads really bad. That's because I put it in the wrong place. Unto their end, many will argue of him, then knowledge will increase of him. That's today, by the way, folks. You just seen new prophecy appear. So you witness history right there. Well, you can watch any of my videos. They're all about recording for history. So you know why I changed what I changed. But who have knowledge and understanding, from that time sacrifices and offerings will be abolished. Now, the thing here is I need to get rid of those here. I need to go back and correct that. But this seems to be text that an angel is telling him. Maybe it's Gabriel. Gabriel is above. So maybe Gabriel is the one telling him this. So, but this is words coming from our Creator being told to tell these all might go, yes, they might all go like this, and say it's from our Creator. Okay, these words coming from our Creator to honor and respect him. I do this, and I better make that red. And this, and this. Now that is some beautiful text. And it is so strange that I did not know that until today. So, I got to go put those editing in marks. That's just beautiful. Anyways, I'm going to put this on the front of the thumb. So if you come back, or maybe I'll put it at the end of, at the beginning and end, so people can see what's there and then what I did to get there, because I think that's important. So I guess this is going to be the first one I really am going to do some extra editing in the recording here. And Twitch, I'm here alive today, and nobody stopped by.